Take one. Maybe this is, the one take Andy this. Who knows? Okay. Brilliant and important shocking news has hit the internet. Fucking 8 hours ago, I believe, as of now. I've just finished listening to, you'll never guess this, V1 of the new Kanye album. Give me a second to just do that to my eyes, okay? Holy fuck, what is going on with them? They're proper just like puffed out. Jesus. Okay, there we go. Probably sorted. I can barely see anyway. Anyway, as you can see, all dressed up nice. I couldn't find a tie. I probably don't own one. However, Kanye's Bully has released V1. So, with everything that is about to be said in this video, please keep in mind, this is V1. It is still being worked on. However, I am proud to announce it is not shit. It is not hot trash. It is actually listenable, Unlike, now, throwing it under the bus here, Donda ass. Donda 2 ass. I'm not gonna lie, there were so few decent songs, so few songs that were actually listenable on those tracks. I can't defend them. I'm a Vultures defender. I will say that there are some songs that are good on Vultures. Overall, there is a lot more bad songs than there are good songs on Vultures, but certain things back to me, still a banger, still a banger, still gonna listen to it, still do listen to it, as well as a few others. However, this is looking good. This is looking good. V1 of Bully. It's not shit. It's not bad. And, to further the kind of good news, we have confirmation from Kanye West himself. Let's hope that he does not switch his mind up on this. But the final release of Bully will not have any AI in it. He will re-record everything over himself. So, thank you, Jesus. I don't know what you've done to Kanye's brain, but thank God have you fixed him at least just a small bit, at least just enough that he can make good music again. Because dear God, is this looking up? The forecast for Kanye music, it's on the rise again. It doesn't look like a horrible cloud storm. So, very, very excited. I've got a few notes on the songs, which I'll quickly go through. I think First of all, I think we can start off by saying Kanye singing in Spanish. I don't know if that was AI or not. I really hope that I'm going with the assumption that everything that is done on these tracks, regardless of whether it's AI or not, will inevitably be done by him himself for the release, because that's what he said. So bear in mind, I'm going with that assumption through this review. But we can start off with Last Breath. Just a banger, just an absolute banger. Kanye singing in Spanish, soulful, beautiful. Have a look at the lyrics. I think it's a gorgeous song. It's amazing. I think it's probably one of the stronger ones on this album. Talking of other strong songs on this album, you've got. I wrote down here Circles. Circles is apparently pretty good. I think. Oh no, what did I say here? Oh mate, I'm fucking okay. Better way of doing this, I'm just going to go from first song to last one, because holy fuck am I getting cluttered. Start off, Preacher Man, very calm. A lot of the album's more on the calm side. Preacher Man, I like it. I think it's a good song. I think it's listenable. That's the main thing with this album compared to some of the previous Kanye albums. Every single song on here is listenable. It's the kind of thing you can put on a playlist, you can leave it through, and you're never going to go back through and be like, oh, this is off the grid. It's just, sometimes I just don't want to hear it, Sometimes it's just a bit grating on the ears. That being said, there is one song on this album where I'm currently not a big fan of the backing track for exactly that reason. I think it gets too high-pitched at times, but we'll get to that in a second. Preacher Man, brilliant. I think it's, what did I write down here? Hands down a good song. Uplifting and unarguably a beautiful transition. Oh yeah, because it's got a. I honestly, I was glazing too hard here. I was glazing way too hard, but it has a decent transition to Beauty and the Beast. At least I think so. And if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, because I have the right opinion on literally fucking everything. Beauty and the Beast. What did I write here? I think it's fire. This one's obviously incomplete, but for what we got, I think it's good. I don't have time to go back and listen to it, so take that as you will. I think if I remember this one, it was just slightly repetitive of what we have at the moment, and quite short. Bum 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 bum. Close to You / White Lines. I'll be honest, one of the weaker songs. This is the one that I was talking about, where I said that the backing track, especially for White Lines, the latter part of the song, if I remember right, It gets a bit whiny, gets a bit repetitive, and it can kind of screech a bit. So you're kind of like, maybe this isn't the kind of song I'm gonna put on a playlist and listen to over and over again. It's not the world's kind of most pleasant song to listen to at times. Um, because of how experimental the backing track is. At least that's what I wrote here. Um, yeah, the close to you part of the song is definitely better than the latter half, but yeah, probably the weakest song in the album. If I was gonna ever skip any song, definitely be this one. I think this is one of the few songs in this album that I'm probably, when it gets released, probably not gonna go back to unless major work is done on it between this V1 release and the Bully release. The final release. Um, Last Breath, we got back to this one. I can't remember if I spoke about this before. I have short-term memory loss and probably amnesia. However, banger. Kanye singing in Spanish, banger. Don't give a fuck what you're saying, banger. I'm gonna listen to this shit a ton. And if you don't, blow your brains out. I don't care. Not a lot to say on that one. Because it's just good. It's just good. Bully, the name track for the album. Okay, now here's where I'm kind of ashamed to admit, maybe not the best. It's the name song of the album, so you kind of expect it to carry it slightly more. And I've written here, being the name song, it's just kind of ass. Like, it's got a good backing track, but what he's put over it at the moment is ass. Can't lie. I can't remember why I wrote that. I would imagine it's because it was slightly repetitive, which at the moment there's a lot of that in this album. Again, because it is being worked on still. So what you get a lot of the time is songs where the hook or a chorus is done for the song and then seemingly nothing else. So you're just kind of listening to the same chorus, the same hook with like gaps in between of like nothing. So I would hope those kind of issues are going to be fixed, bringing up the whole album as a whole before its final release. So I'll be excited for that, especially for Bully being the name track of the album. It would be nicer to see more effort put into this track to make it stronger, because at the moment, especially with some of the other songs on this album being really good, it falls off. It's not the best one. Like I would hate to have Bully be one of the songs that I just kind of never really go back to. I Can't Bear, blatantly unfinished. Hard to make an opinion of this, since it's pretty much the backing track at the moment. I like what we got, but I can see the song going either way, as what I had written down. I think if I remember right, yeah, this is one where it's incredibly repetitive. It's like him saying two words, gaps in between of not really a whole lot going on. So hopefully a lot more work is put into that, and it turns out to be better in the end. But for what we've got at the moment, hard to make an opinion of. I hope that more work is put into it, and I hope it does get better. Okay, sorry about that. What we got on next? Circles. Again, blatantly unfinished, but the backing track, straight fire. So I was excited for this one. I think this is, again, one of those ones where it's, at the moment, it's just him saying circles over and over again, which I'm assuming is like the hook of the chorus or something, where it's just in circles, For what we've got at the moment, it's definitely not a song that I would go back to in the state that it's in. If I remember right, it sounds like I was very excited about the backing track at the very least. I think that the bass of the song, very strong. So I would love to see what happens with this one. Very excited to see this on further releases. And I think it's one that I went back to, just going back to I Can't Bear for a second. I think it's one where I wrote down, it seemed iffy. Even in an unfinished state, it was one where I wasn't very sure of like whether it was going to be a decent or bad song. But Circles, hands down, I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be good. I hope I'm right. I hope my fucking foresight telling me the truth here. Highs and lows. Okay, so I've got a lot to say on highs and lows. I think still, in the state that it is one of the better songs on this album. Still really good. Still something I'm going to put in an album, even in the current state. I would love to see more work done on it, purely because some of the leaks and stuff we had of this song prior to this V1 album coming out were so good. The potential for highs and lows it's way up there, high if you will. So let's hope it doesn't drop down to a low. I want to see the Prada hook come back in. I think that was strong. I forget if that was specifically meant for this song or if that was something that people just ripped from some other leak and put in there. But I think it worked so well on highs and lows. I really wish that comes back. I really hope that we get more in that, because my major complaint about highs and lows at the moment is I think it's just about like a minute long at the moment. I would love to see it slightly longer. I think it's incredibly strong. Um, Even with how gutted the track is, with the fact that they couldn't, or Kanye couldn't use that the woman's vocals, she denied it, which I think did uplift the song to like an ethereal level. I think the sad truth about Highs and Lows is it's gonna be one of those songs where no matter how good the final release is, the unreleased kind of snippets that people have put together online are probably always going to be better. I'm calling it. I think they're just always going to be better because obviously at that point people can use stuff that don't fall into copyright laws and everything that Kanye has to deal with for a final release. Um, Still a really good song. Still a really good song. I like what we've got currently. Um, and like I said, I hope that we see slightly more come into it, slightly longer track on the end, and maybe bring that Prada hook back. They come and change the situation, fucking fire. I would love to see that shit come back because it's in the pre-release stuff, really strong. And I think just that small addition to it would elevate the song even further to the point where I'm not going to be disappointed. It's one of those songs where if a tiny bit more work is done on it, even if the unreleased, prior to the album coming out, fan made snippets are better than the final track, I would not be sad with the state it's in and would probably still go with the official Kanye release if it had small extra bits like that added into it. Um, Showtime, if I remember right, this is a calming song, quite nice. Nice way to end off the track. Ironic because it's called Showtime, you'd expect it to be like closest to the beginning. Um, but I remember liking this one. I probably should have like listened to the track right before I recorded this video instead of half an hour before it. But fuck it, here we are. So I got to do my best because I'm one take candying this. All of this stays in. Fuck it. Yeah, really good song. I liked it. It was a good way to end off the track. I thought it was nice. If I remember right, I thought it was kind of a banger. Um, One second, I can just mute my desktop audio, right? Yeah, I mean, I can just pull it up here. Yeah, okay. I think it's groovy. I like the backing track for it. I think it's nice and calming. It's definitely a song I would go back to. It's not like the world's most hype one. I think it's, especially for a song following Highs and Lows, um, which I definitely think was one of the more anticipated songs on the album. I think it's, maybe not quite as up there, but it's decent. It's a decent way to round off the album. I think it's, decent enough. And again, with it in mind, this is a V1 album. There is more coming. More additions happening. I think this is going to turn into a genuinely good Kanye album. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Holy fuck, am I just glad to say that even in the state it's in right now, if it got released right now, it's not atrocious. That's a big thing for a new Kanye release. It's not awful. So, we're looking up, guys. This is potentially gonna be a really good one, and I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see. And I think from what we've seen currently, I'm not too worried now about it being another Donda Donda 2, where you kind of listen to it through gritted teeth and go, yeah, that was just shit. That was just maybe not that good. Um, you know, like it's definitely one of the better albums for a while. I like the tone that it goes with. As much as I would love to see more kind of hype in some of the songs, um, maybe that'll be the next album. Maybe the next one's gonna come out and it's gonna be like fucking crazy, Because I think at the moment, I say at the moment, Highs and Lows. Highs and Lows has definitely been tuned down a lot for this album. It's a lot kind of calmer than a lot of the pre-release stuff, which is why I'm kind of like, I'd love to see the hype brought back up. Um, I'd love to see it kind of get more energy in it because I think that was what made it so exciting in the fan made stuff. And I hope that that's something Kanye changes because honestly, Highs and Lows alone could carry this album. Um, I still think The Last Breath one really really good. Kanye singing in Spanish, crazy to hear. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if that one was AI or not, but again, I'm going with the assumption that everything will eventually be Kanye singing it himself. And if that is the case, I'm excited for that one. That one's an immediate banger for me. I think between that and Highs and Lows, we've already got some really good songs in this track, and there's a lot of potential in the other ones. There's a lot of ones that are already pretty good, and with a tiny bit of work added into them, more vocals. But then there's very obviously parts in them where you're like, okay, this is a segment where he's intending to add something later. When all of that's said and done, they should be pretty good, unless he does a shitload more nitrous. And smooth segue into the latter half of this video, because now that I know the album is not shit, I can do some Kanye apologizing. Um, and I'd like to start this off by saying, first of all, I do not agree with anything Kanye has said recently on his Twitter, apart from maybe the fat bitches comment, because dear God, was that hilarious. But no, all of his comments on Nazism, race, whatever, I think it's safe to just say blanket statement. Everything he said on Twitter for a long time, just bad opinions, just not very good. So do not get me wrong. I'm not saying in any shape or form I agree with the comments he's made. I very firmly disagree. The point that I would like to make though is that we have known for an incredibly long period of time Kanye is immensely unwell, incredibly unwell. We are aware that he had a handler that forcibly drugged him, and like that, the situation that we saw come out online at least seemed incredibly daunting. Dare I say, even like traumatic to undergo. Definitely not a comfortable situation to be in, especially because as soon as he finished with that, he immediately then got peddled nitrous by his dentist of all people. It's clear that he's in a situation where every single person around him, dare I say, are vultures, all waiting for their chance and opportunity to abuse his trust and worsen his life through an addiction in some form, to get what they want out of it. I think it's very blatant with the whole thing that's going on with the dentist, the way that he started just like showing up and following Kanye everywhere. Bro, you're his dentist, not his mate. Like, this is ridiculous. He's in it for the money. 100%. I think that's safe to say. But the thing that I'm getting at here is we have known for a long period of time Kanye is severely unwell. He is borderline. I say borderline just because we don't have like a direct confirmation. Basically a schizophrenic. His mind is gone. He's barely able to pull it together just to make albums every year. I mean, I think that was I might, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that was said on one of the releases of the Vulture albums that like even for that album, a lot of the time he was off his face on nitrous and was not really that kind of like with it to be able to record the album. So we're very aware that these addictions have really kind of hooked their way into his life. I think that's incredibly tragic, and I think it's kind of insane that people are taking what he says with so much seriousness. Kanye, Kanye is crazy. Kanye is mentally insane. Kanye desperately needs someone who isn't going to peddle him drugs and isn't going to manipulate and abuse him to help him really severely. And it's clear that he has some people around him trying to do this. However, he's stuck in a very horrible net, where I would assume a lot of assumptions coming in. You have people like his dentist and, the handler that was peddling drugs to him before that are probably making it very difficult for him to actually go to people who are trying to help, So I think with that in mind, it's very strange that a lot of people have such a damning opinion of him when all we're really seeing is someone who is severely mentally unwell, to the point where the reality they live in is probably not the same as our own for the most part. Like when those tweets are made, you're looking at someone who is off their face, probably in a schizophrenic episode, just saying a ton of random shit, to the point where it's Kanye, bro. We know he's crazy. So why take anything he says with any level of seriousness, regardless of what he says? Like the guy himself, I don't think is even able to really think through what he says sometimes. And especially this whole kind of like back and forth that he has. The whole like I've watched Schindler's List. I don't hate Jewish people anymore. Insane. Like that was an insane comment. Holy fuck. But there is this back and forth, and I think what we're seeing is him kind of coming to and becoming more cognizant at times and going like, oh wow, I fucked up. I should not have said a lot of this stuff. it's probably the same as a lot of people that have like dementia, where there's almost like a level of embarrassment about it, where you come to and you go like, oh my god, I did all that stuff. I feel awful. I feel, deathly embarrassed to the point where there's probably a lot more that I'm not even going to speak on because I just prefer to pretend it doesn't happen. Um, so I think a lot of these people coming out and having such a damning opinion of Kanye, going like he is a Nazi, a racist, XYZ at the moment. It's like the guy isn't even in his own head. Like to it's crazy to hold him to a sane person standard when he very, very obviously is not sane. Uh, like I don't know. I find this kind of stuff bizarre. Like we talk about mental health all the time now online, and yet the second that someone displays some very, very clear signs that holy fuck, are they insane and desperately need help, it's an immediate case of no, everything you say is taken at face value as if you said it in a sane, sound, and clear mind and chose yourself to go, I'm a Nazi. Um, the sad truth is, as much as I'm sat here defending it, I think that there are probably some things that he said which, even if he was to get help, get better, and become sane, probably are actual opinions that he holds. For example, the Jewish one has been such a prevalent opinion of his for a long, long time that I think it's probably safe to say that even if he was sober and of sound mind, we have seen a bit of a glimpse into his maybe more earnest opinions. Whether they're more tempered if he was in that state or not, I'm not sure. I can't make a call on. Um, but that's all I really want to get on. Like, people are holding him to such a ridiculously high standard when the guy is clearly in the worst state of probably most humans out there. Like, it is kind of insane. Um, and also just like deeply hypocritical. The amount of people that I've seen which like they themselves go through like manic episodes where they say insane shit and then don't want people to hold them accountable for it, and yet still hold a negative opinion on Kanye West. It's like, bro, you're just being a hypocrite here. This is ridiculous. The amount of people I've seen and spoken to with like dissociative identity disorder and stuff that do exactly that, where it quite literally is like for a second they become a different person, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, Kanye West though meant everything, and it's like, okay, but you didn't, so like I don't understand this hypocrisy here. Um, and don't get me wrong, again, I'm gonna state I do not agree with anything he said. I just think the guy is incredibly mentally unwell and desperately, desperately needs help, of which we are seeing that help that is being tried to reach out for him get sabotaged. So the situation he's in is very, very dire, and people seem to kind of just ignore that part. The amount of people I see that talk about him as if it's, again, just someone of sound, clear minds that's deciding to do all of this stuff, and the truth of it is, no, he's not. The guy's fucking out of it most of the time. Now, there's always a chance I'm wrong. Like, if it turns out that genuinely all of this is, Le Carnier's opinions of sound and clear minds, mate, I fucked up and I chose the wrong horse to stand on. But at least from what I've seen, I'm willing to err on the side that I've just stated now, rather than hold such a brutal opinion against him. Um, anyway, I think that's about what I've got to say. Album looks promising. Can't wait to see the final release. Yeah. At least it's not shit. At least it's not shit.